And so here we are, this is the Redmi Turbo 3. It has the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8S Gen 3, also using the Adreno 735. And in this video, guys, well, you probably know what we're gonna be doing, but let me just show you something for context, alright? So this here, guys, is the Nintendo Switch, alright? It's one of my favorite devices there, as you can see. Yeah, I use it. Not every day, but I do have some favorite games, and I always try to go back to the Nintendo Switch and try to revisit and relive some of this classic, like for example, right, this here is the Nintendo new 3DS XL. Believe it or not, I had to buy 7 different versions from eBay until I end up just getting a version with at least one IPS screen. And believe it or not, guys, this really makes a huge difference. You can see here, this is the IPS screen, this is the TN screen, and most of the Nintendos out there, they just have like a double TN screen. This is IPS, and oh boy, this is really great. Okay, so one thing for sure that I play quite often, by the way, is The Legend of Zelda: The Ocarina of Time. Of course, that's the 3D version. And then last but not least, guys, we do have the Sony PlayStation Vita. I don't know really why Sony had to discontinue this. This is one of my favorite consoles. I think it was really a gem when it was released. As you can see, I have also some games here on the Sony. Oops. Jesus, that was bad. You can control also the back via touch. You have a camera there. It was really a very innovative device. So now you might wonder, like, why do I have to show you all this? Do I have to brag with this? Well, no, if you pay attention to the video title, and also, I promise some of you, I'm going to test the Redmi Turbo 3 with some emulation. Also, PS2, which I was not able to show right now. Then we have some Switch gaming. Then we have some PS Vita gaming. And then we have some Nintendo 3DS gaming, guys. So without any further ado, I'm selected some games. I'm gonna be playing them. I'm going to also try to measure the temperature, see what is going on. By the way, let me just take a baseline time. Okay, just 29.5, which is kind of okay. My phone is in my case to hopefully not burn my fingers. And this is pretty much it. I really wanted to set the scene, and now let's start. And we're gonna be starting with the Ether SX2, which is PlayStation 2 emulation, with one of the favorite games ever. And we're gonna be starting with Ether X2 and one of the favorite games ever. This is the so-called God of War. Now, guys, I try to use standard settings where I can, sometimes also custom drivers for the emulators that apparently support this. I just want to show really what it is like to just own a phone with a Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 and just try to emulate some games. So, alright, without any further ado, I'm just gonna try to load some states and show you. Okay, it's very important to also understand here on the top right corner, you're going to be able to check the CPU allocation in terms of percentages. Then we're going to have also the CPU temperature. Those are the readings reported by the sensor. So this is the internal temp. And then, of course, this is the most important parameter. It's the frames per second. I am using Shizuku with Tacostats. So I will show you the same tool everywhere. I don't want to use like the internal tooling. The internal tools data is also going to be reported there. And also something very important, I'm starting this game right now with an upscaled resolution of 2x native, which means that usually, you know, the standard resolution is going to be like the 1x native. And you might have seen some of my other videos, I'm testing this up to 8x, which is like 8x the original resolution from the PlayStation 2. It's already an overkill. Right now I'm going to start it slow, right? So it's not really so much to see if we can push this phone to the limit. It's just really to see if this phone with the 8S Gen 3 is just, yeah, able to play those games. Okay. 60 FPS right now. Starting strong. Even more than 60, guys. In some of my other videos, guys, you might have seen I also am connecting PlayStation 5 controller or PlayStation 4 controller or Nintendo Pro controller to my phone and even able to play with them. It's just better. Sometimes also connecting it to an HDMI output if of course the phone allows it. Now right now, guys, I do believe that from what I see, the Redmi Turbo 3 is just quite capable with rendering the 2x. So you know what? I'm gonna make this bit more complicated for the Redmi Turbo 3, and I'm going to go and let me just choose. Okay, I'm gonna go and choose 4x. How do we know? Well, yep. All right, so the frame rate is gonna drop a bit, and by the way, the resolution is up here, right? So you can already see the resolution is 4 times the native one, and if 4 is okay, then I might as well just end up playing with this resolution. Okay, you can see already we have some frame rate dropping. This is quite of normal. Now let's just see what will happen, guys, for the test. I'm gonna go inside the upscale and I'm gonna choose the 8x native. This is already an overkill. You can check here, right? It's almost running like 5K. And all right, now this, just to show you, right? And there are actually not all the phones that can handle this. So I just wanted to show how this works. I'm gonna go back inside graphics, guys, and I'm going to actually go and choose the 4x native. So 4x is already quite okay. Now I need to pump up and open the gate. Come on, Kratos, don't disappoint me, boy. Come on, pump. All right, he did it. Okay. Now, guys, since this is a scene indoors, I think 4x is quite nice. But you know, like, I think it's compromising already on my game plan. So I will do something else. I will go and I'll put 3x. I think 3x native is still perfect for a small screen like this. I don't want to really sacrifice and compromise on the very smooth 60 FPS that I have, all right? And I want to prove a point. It seems that with 3x, at least in the very first scenes of God of War, you're completely fine with this. Now I just want to go and play a bit more until I reach outside and see what happens there. But right now, from what we see, yeah, the phone is able to handle 3x. Ooh, okay. But you see the point, guys. It's completely playable, and we do have between 35 to 60 FPS. And if I am now, let me just show you guys, if I am now to go back inside the graphics menu and go for 2x native. So remember, this is still twice the resolution, right? We should be able to get a pretty nice frame rate. And on a screen like this, I mean, you know, this is not a 4K screen. It is 1.5K. This should be quite playable. So based on the first test, I would say test successful. And now let me show you something else, guys. I told you I have some games to show you, right? So that you kind of know what is going to happen. So this here is, yeah, indeed is the Need for Speed, all right? Pro Speed is again a version for the PlayStation 2. All right, let me just try to adjust with the controls. Okay. Steady 60 FPS with using 2x. Let me just check. I do believe that I'm using 2x here as well again. So it's the 2x multiplier. So guys, if you're just tuning in right now, this is playing a Sony PlayStation game with twice the original resolution on the Redmi Turbo 3, which costs something like 350 to 400 euro, okay? And by the way, I mean, this game is so impressive. You can see the graphics. PlayStation 2 games, yeah. Going back in time, guys, this is really, it's a miracle, right? Like this possibility to really play all these favorite games. And okay, we have now a big tear down while doing this, but remember, we are doing 2x, okay? Let's see if the emulation is going to recover. I think it did. I think it actually did. I would say that using 2x with Need for Speed was a bit of a challenging, but guys, let me just reload the state, and you know how it goes, like with proper fine tunings, you should be able to get pretty nice result. Now these guys here looks, I know, a bit disgusting, but hey, this is the original Sony PlayStation 2 resolution, right? And you can just see it's not great, but it should be able to provide an optimized frame rate. If that's not the case, of course, it could also mean that, yeah, just the emulation is not perfect. It doesn't really necessarily mean that the phone is bad, but I think it's still very much playable. So let me know what you think down below in the comments, okay? This is going to cover the first part of the emulation, where I am showing you Ether SX2 with PlayStation 2. And now let's open this thing here. I want to start with something, guys. This is interesting because I have something called Super Mario 64, all right? And this is no joke, actually. This is indeed a game that is been created for the Nintendo 64, and this is actually indeed a port for the Switch, okay? And yeah, let's just see how this is gonna run, right? First things, let's just try to check the introduction here. And by the way, this here is the standard resolution. You have also an option to go and upscale here, but it doesn't really work quite nice sometimes with this type of emulation and with those type of games. But nevertheless, right now, Super Mario, this is the N64 version for Switch, emulated on the Redmi, okay, and we have a stable 60 FPS. I do believe that, if I'm not mistaken, that this is the first 3D Mario game, okay? this really is a very important game for the whole franchise. Now we can just see it's not perfect, there are these discrepancies. But let me tell you, there is a way to battle this. When you go inside the settings, you're gonna see there is something called the GPU driver manager. This here is my standard driver, this is the system GPU driver. Again, you can see it's Qualcomm because I have Adreno. So it's 0762. I, by the way, also installed some 3D party drivers like the Turnip driver, and I also installed the very latest version for the Adreno by Qualcomm, which is a newer version for me. This is taken by the Red Magic 9. So sometimes if there are issues, you can just go and change it back to your system GPU driver, and then you can go and relaunch. Let's just try to relaunch and see what happens, okay? This here is just to demonstrate really how powerful this type of things are, and that the phone is really able to process it. Okay, so now I'm using my system GPU driver, and I want to see if I'm going to get these artifacts. Okay. If yes, like I think this is the situation, then it means it's probably the emulation, so you don't have to worry, and you can go back and you can use the third party, or let's say tweaked GPU driver that you have. Okay, now let's just try to go past the intro. I just want to see how playable the real game is. Right now I think introduction, guys, 59, 60 FPS. Yeah. We cannot really wish for more, right? What do you think? Let me know down below in the comments. And if you like content like this, guys, don't hesitate, sub for the channel. I really try to do various stuff, as long, of course, as I am intrigued by this various stuff. Okay, we're gonna very soon start the first level. All right. Super Mario, come on, man. Okay, now this is the actual game. I hope I'm not mistaken, but I do believe that this is indeed the first ever Super Mario 3D game to be made. As you can see, exit emulation, it works quite nice. And now I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna choose really the latest driver that I get. I want to show you some more games, so I have some newer stuff. And with that said, let me just show you this one. This one has been a wonderful game. It is a native game made for the Switch, so it's not old generation. So let's just see how this works. Just amazing, guys. This looks so nice, you know, when you have it like this. All right, 50 FPS so far. Oh, sometimes of course there are these drops, but it's still playable. Some issues with the introduction. I think sometimes you can see also frame rate is dropping to 30 something. Oops. And yep, game crash apparently. I got outside. Don't worry about this. I have another one to show you. Okay, so this is a collection of Street Fighter games. Now have in mind that all these things, all these now please have in mind that all the bezels on the right, it's just really part of the game, because you know the original game has been released for 3x4, not 60x9. Okay, so this is how you end up with having bezels. This is what you get when you just play this also on the Switch. I know that there are options from within the emulator to just go and just make it 16x9, but in that case you're gonna get a good result, because these bezels are kind of pre-included into the game, and I believe that I am just smashing her. Come on, lady. Alright, she got me into KO, but you pretty much got the idea, so it all works, not a problem at all. So what I'm gonna do, guys, I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna exit the emulation, and this will now bring me to the fourth emulator, which is the Vita 3K. And the Vita 3K is actually an experimental emulator to emulate this device. This is the PS Vita. Like I told you, it's one of my favorite consoles all the time. It's just great, you know, like the controls here and the analog sticks, the fact that you can touch on the back, the fact that it has also a camera is really very innovative. It's very sad that, you know, Sony had to kind of like shut down, but it's also very sad what Nintendo had to do with the 3DS, because honestly, guys, I still believe like the 3DS, Jesus Christ, is one marvelous device. Let's go back on the Vita 3K, guys, and I want to show you something. Yeah, actually, I already loaded something. I'm already playing, and also I guess gonna win this one. So this is the Street Fighter versus, or Street Fighter X Tekken. So Street Fighter X Tekken, this is made specifically for the PS Vita platform, and you can just see like how crazy good the graphics were. All right, we have here the standard FPS meter, but like I told you, I want to use the taco stats everywhere, so that we have kind of like unification in the reading, so that you don't really have to look right and left all the time. All right. Oof. All right. And you can just see, guys, not a problem at all. We will have one of a frame drop, sometimes 40 FPS, sometimes 50, but most of the time this is really stable. And this is really a 3D graphics, like it's rendering a lot of things in real time. So honestly, very, very impressive. The 8S Gen 3 is really cool, guys. It doesn't go so fast as the 8 Gen 3, but in the meantime, I do believe it's very well optimized, and the core setup that is very different from what we've seen on the 8 Gen 3 is actually not that bad at all, because it really provides so much power, like as you need it. Let's try to measure some temps. I've been playing for so long. Guys, it's not an issue at all, right? So, this has left us with only one thing to go, and this is the Citra. And guys, this is perfect. Citra is emulating Nintendo 3DS. I'm just showing you, this is the Legend of Zelda, the Ocarina of Time, the very same game that I do have now here on my 3DS. And I can tell you, this is probably one of the best Zelda games ever. If we don't have to count the BOTW and then also the TOTR. So this has been an amazing experience, amazing game. And playing these guys with a device that has an IPS screen is gorgeous, right? But here, of course, we have the limitation, and we have the stock resolution and stuff like this, right? So let me just show you how it looks like on the original. I'm using it here on my original 3DS console, right? This is pretty much what you get, okay? So you know how it goes. There's all the sensors, the accelerometer, all right? And when you look at this game with this original resolution here, it doesn't look that bad at all right? But when you run this game here with the original resolution on a screen that is really so much more advanced than the original Nintendo, yeah, then you see how it goes. It's not perfect, okay? And of course there is a cue for this, so once you go inside, you can go inside settings, and that's gonna be also an option for you to upscale here. Now guys, I'm just going to do, let's go 3x, okay? Wow, 3x. And now with 3x, guys, really I have a feeling that it's just completely changes everything. Usually this is your playing screen, but here you can also get access to your map. Here you can get access to your ocarina, and you see, even you can try to play. So the idea is that you require two screens, and now the Citra can do it like this. So here, this is the main screen. If you don't like this layout, guys, you need to click here, and then you can go to settings, and from here, guys, you can select. So the layout, the default one is rather this, but all right, I mean, probably if you play this on a very big laptop, very big screen, this will make sense. So what I'm usually choosing when I'm playing emulation, I'm going for the large. Here I do have the large screen, and then on the right I have everything else, which is access to my gear, or let's say the map. And this is running 3x, and you can just see, even with 3x, we pretty much have some very stable graphics, all right? And again, this will only manifest if you play it on a screen that has higher resolution. The original resolution is still not bad. I mean, this really is the original vibe. Okay, so the Zelda Ocarina of Time, I think it was released first for the N64, if I'm not mistaken, and this is pretty much a port for the 3DX, so it's still not the original. It wasn't released for the NDS, and guys, now this here is the very same game, but with updated resolution, and this is how it looks like. This is how it works on a device like this. I wanted to also take some readings. What can I tell you, guys? 34, like, it seems that emulation, when you play it from 1x native to 3x native, isn't a problem at all for the Redmi Turbo 3, and it does make sense because the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8S Gen 3 doesn't have only a different core setup that is just higher clocked compared to the 7 Plus Gen 3. It has also the UFS 4.0, which is the quickest storage, the fastest storage, and it does also have the LPDDR5 RAM. It's not quite flagship just because of the configuration of the efficiency cores and the smaller cores, and the fact that the big performance core, the X4, is just clocked lower compared to the 8 Gen 3, but overall you can see yourself. And just for comparison, I'm gonna go inside and show you the original graphics. Okay, so this is now the 1x resolution. Okay, let's try to see even what happens if I put 4x. If I put 4x, it's gonna be very crisp, and if we have some, yeah, why not, like 30 FPS, isn't that bad at all, right? So in case this ticks your box, then you should know the Redmi Turbo 3 is quite powerful for emulating purposes. And if you like videos like this, if you like the effort spent to just be able to prepare this video for you guys, sub for the channel, doesn't hurt. Thank you so much. VST over, and bye.